The early morning light and the singing of mountain birds woke me up. I heard the scurrying of chipmunks running through the camp and cleaning up the crumbs left from my camp dinner. The pure morning joy I felt in nature after so many years quickly dissipated when today's reality hit me. Here, at an altitude of 6,000 feet, the air was fresh and cool, and as I stepped out of the tent, I was engulfed by the beauty of the alpine lake surrounded by snow-capped mountains. I wanted to push deeper the burdensome realities, free my mind, and go fishing. But I knew that today was the very day I had feared all last month. Today was the day of confrontation that I had to face firmly and finally, so I could start anew. I prepared something like breakfast with eggs and sausage on a propane stove, along with thick black coffee. Sitting, finishing my meal, and gearing up for the 6-mile hike, I marveled at how wonderful and peaceful this moment in time was. I reminded myself that yes, there is beauty and joy in life if you just keep moving forward correctly. I knew that I would definitely return to camping, hiking, fishing, and sailing, my former hobbies, the ones I set aside during 23 years of marriage with the love of my life. Well, now I will say that it was a woman I once wholeheartedly considered the love of my life. I am an optimist. I hope that at some point, another one will appear. The walk down was pleasant and uneventful, and I didn't meet anyone on the trail until I reached the place where I had parked. I packed my car with my gear and started heading towards the main highway. I turned my phone back on after being disconnected from the network for the last 3 days and knew that once I entered a cell service area, messages and emails would start coming in. As I drove onto the Tulane paved country road, I heard the first beep of a message and, looking down, saw that it was from my 21-year-old son, Ryan. Ryan and I were not only father and son but had become best friends and confidants, having gone through the trials and tribulations of his turbulent teenage years and emerging with respect and strong mutual love. Ryan's message was short and to the point. "Dad, I love you and support you. Good luck today and stay positive. Somewhere, someday, there will be light at the end of this tunnel." His words of encouragement brought tears to my eyes and helped strengthen my resolve to do what I needed to do. The next message I opened was from my daughter Krista, and it was also a promise of support and love. "Dad, I wish I could be with you, hug you, and tell you that everything will be okay. You are the best father we could ever imagine, and you always put us first. Now you must put yourself first. Whatever happens, you must know that Ryan and I love you and will always be by your side." Krista was always a daddy's girl, and although she was an exact copy of my beautiful wife Linda in her younger years, Krista had my adventurous spirit, love of nature, and crazy sense of humor, qualities that Linda never possessed. At the very least, I was blessed with children whom I loved, respected, and who would become the best legacy I could ever leave behind at the end of what I hoped would once again become a happy and fulfilling life. I stopped to take a breather and carefully review my messages, emails, voicemails, and missed calls. Over the past 3 days, there were 10 missed calls from my wife, the first 7 or so probably from her 3-day banking seminar and supposed business trip to Vegas, and the last 3 seemingly after her return yesterday evening and then again this morning. I could imagine how angry she was when I wasn't at the airport to pick her up and when I didn't answer her calls or messages. I didn't bother with the voicemails. I deleted them all and moved on to the incoming messages. Of course, Linda had written to me about 20 times over the last 3 days, and again, I didn't respond to any of them. I skimmed through the messages, with the first few declaring her undying love for me, which I thought was crap, probably out of guilt, and the last few were venomous, filled with indignation for not answering her, not picking up her calls, and leaving her waiting at the airport for over an hour before she finally realized I wasn't coming. The last message from her was simply "WTF Jack," all in capital letters. How our relationship had changed over the past few months, although I don't think she even realized how the spark of love in me that always burned for her had started to slowly fade. Had she really become so distant from me over the past 4 treacherous months? Had she truly lost all conscious thought about me, my feelings, and the pain in my eyes that she seemed oblivious to? Had she so easily forgotten about her children, our family, and the love we shared for so long? This was perhaps even more disheartening than her affair. Linda was beautiful at 44, with incredible curves, slender legs, and a bold and firm chest. She knew how to use her body for any occasion, whether it was flirting at a social event or playing the role of an up-and-coming banking professional in the Trust Department of Commerce Bank USA. I was always proud when I was seen with her, and I liked how men looked at her, barely containing their desire and averting their eyes. Knowing that she was mine and that we were forever intertwined gave me an enormous boost of self-respect and ego as we walked past those lustful onlookers. I told her how beautiful and desirable she was, but she always retorted that she was aging and no longer felt as young, energetic, and sexy as before. I could tell it bothered her, and I tried to reassure her that her light was growing brighter, not dimmer. But she would simply ignore my compliments, saying, "You just have to say that because you're my husband and you love me." However, her younger boss, John Monroe, somehow became the new light in her life, at least sexually. I now, obviously, was seen as a somewhat dull but reliable best friend. Though for me, we had even stopped being friends. But again, Linda didn't notice that either. John Monroe, the wealthy vice president of the Trust Department, was thin, tall, and so self-assured that I found him insufferable when I met him a few times. But Linda considered him the epitome of a great leader. At least, that's what she said when we discussed her work life and him, but that suddenly stopped 4 months ago. Looking back, I now suppose that was the beginning of her affair. The beginning of the end of our 23 years together. I shook off my depressing thoughts, looked at my phone again, and with an angry growl, deleted all her messages before moving on to other emails. My lawyer informed me that everything was ready to proceed according to our agreements. I also noticed that I had something in a private chat and opened it to read, "The person you were interested in got into serious trouble during a robbery." When I closed the chat, everything was automatically deleted. The next email I checked was a confirmation that my resignation from work had been accepted, my 401k and stock options had been liquidated, and the proceeds transferred to my new checking account. I would be fine, at least for a few years, although the tax bite would be painful. But I really didn't care. I needed to get out. I was about to pull onto the road when the phone rang, and I saw it was Linda. I decided there was no better time to talk than now, likening it to ripping off a band-aid. It needed to be done quickly and convincingly. I braked, turned off the engine, and answered the call as dispassionately as I could. "Hey, Linda, what's up?" "What do you mean, what's up?" "First of all, where are you? You weren't at the airport to pick me up, and you weren't home all night. You didn't even leave a note or answer my calls and messages since last week. What the hell, Jack? Tell me what's going on." "Well, Linda, I thought you wouldn't care whether I answered or not, whether you saw me or not. I thought you'd be happy I wasn't home. That way, you could get yourself together and get back into character before seeing me, the kids, our friends, or your parents. Isn't that how your double life works?" "What? Why are you saying this, Jack? I don't understand. What double life? You know I have to travel for work. And by the way, why aren't the kids answering my calls and messages? And where is our king-size mattress from the master bedroom? I had to sleep in the guest bedroom last night. Jack, what the hell is going on? Where the hell are you? And why did you leave me at the airport? I feel like I'm in the twilight zone, and nothing makes sense." "Linda, you are in that twilight zone, the one you've driven yourself and our entire family into." Linda's anger and aggressive verbal attack subsided as her confidence must have started to falter, and her worst fears began to surface. What? What the hell does that mean, Jack? Where are you and what is happening?" "It doesn't matter where I am or where I'm going, but I'm not in town, Linda. I was too busy last week to respond to your messages and calls. I was very busy trying to figure out how to leave the biggest betrayal of my life and move into my new life." Linda hesitated, and her voice trembled when she heard the word betrayal, but she continued to play dumb and yelled, "Jack, are you drunk? What are you talking about? First of all, Linda, tell me how your 3-day banking conference went. Did that jerk John have sex with you every night and morning, or just for 3 nights?" I heard her gasp and go silent when I said this, and it took her a few seconds to respond. "What the hell are you talking about? What John? Why are you saying this? I'm married to you. Yes, Linda, you're married to me, and I'm amazed you still consider this a marriage. So, could you at least do me the courtesy, after 23 years of marriage, to tell me the truth? I know you haven't shown any respect or care for me or our family in the past few months, but now that the lies and deceit are out, how about being honest? Linda replied with a trembling and quiet voice, Jack, I don't know what you're imagining, but you're wrong. I only love you. There's nothing between me and John Monroe. Well, at least now you've admitted you know which John I'm talking about. For a moment, I thought there might be more than one John. Linda, tell me honestly, did you think you'd never get caught, or did you just not care? Why didn't you want to tell me that you wanted a divorce and loved someone else? It would have been much easier for everyone if you had the courage to let us know before lying and deceiving behind our backs. Jack, Linda cried, and I heard her start to sob. Don't even mention the word divorce. Please believe me. I only love you. Please come home so we can talk about this. Nothing is happening. How can you think otherwise? Obviously, Linda was convinced that I had no proof and was bluffing, so she intended to continue this charade. So, you never slept with Monroe in our bedroom on our now-missing king-size mattress? No, of course not. What the hell are you talking about? Linda, hold on a minute, okay? With these words, I pulled out a photo of John Monroe having sex with Linda from behind. She looked like she was in ecstasy, and judging by the strained expression on his face, he was clearly putting everything he had into it. It was one of many photos and videos I had received from the camera hidden in plain sight inside the clock on the dresser, which I had bought a month ago when I was tipped off about her affair. I sent the photo to Linda and switched back to the call. Linda, look at the photo I just sent you. Are you telling me that's not my loving wife having sex in my bedroom, on my huge mattress, without protection, with her boss? I heard her drop the phone and scream in agony. Oh God, no, Jack. Please, it was a mistake. It happened only once. It meant nothing. It was just an affair, just the thrill of someone younger who wanted me so much and made me feel sexy and young again. It was a one-time thing, and I really never wanted it to hurt you. Oh God, I'm so sorry. But Jack, if... Linda, look out the window at the middle of the backyard. Do you see that pile of charred wood, metal, and ash? That's our king-size mattress. It's a symbol of how you set our marriage on fire, how you betrayed our family, how you humiliated me. When did you start hating me so much that you'd cause such pain? When did you decide that you no longer cared about my love or the love of our children? When did you decide that I no longer deserved respect and honesty? When and why did you decide to throw us away like morning trash? Jack, please forgive me. I love you. I could never hate you. I want to spend my whole life with you. It was an accident, a terrible mistake, and it happened only once. I was being selfish. It has nothing to do with you. Please, Jack, come home and talk to me. Linda, the kids and I are already fed up with the lies and deceit. Can you finally be honest with me? So that's why the kids aren't answering my calls? Jack, did you tell them and turn them against me? How dare you, Linda? I did nothing to turn the kids against you. You did all of this yourself. You and your creep of a friend. It's all you. Your selfish, egocentric attitude and your need for another man are what led you into this twilight zone and tore our family apart, pushing us all away from you. And no, I didn't tell the kids. The kids told me. How pathetic. I never thought you could lie, cheat on me, and so easily abandon us. At least now, stop lying. It wasn't just once. It's been going on for at least 4 months, judging by how you emotionally cut us all out of your life. And the saddest part is that you didn't even realize it. You stopped talking to us, stopped looking at me, stopped making love to me, except for the rare pity sex. You disgust me. Jack, it means nothing. It was just sex, only one time, and just a brief lapse in judgment after 23 years of marriage. I want you, not John. Please believe me. Linda, wait. I pulled up the next photo on my phone, the one where Ryan came home unexpectedly to grab some tools and heard his mother and Monroe going at it. He quietly crept up to the open master bedroom door, took out his phone, and snapped a few pictures and videos. He didn't tell me for 2 weeks, until he and Krista decided I had the right to know. They called me, told me everything, and we all cried and felt physically ill watching the betrayal of their mother, my wife, with her boss. That's what prompted me to buy the spy camera. I sent this photo to Linda as well. Linda, open your phone again. This was the first time any of us found out about you and your boss. Though given how you cut all emotional ties with me 3 months before this picture, I'm sure you were lovers for all that time. Linda, Ryan was the first one to discover you. He took a picture of you when you and Monroe were having sex. What the hell do you think your son feels toward you after witnessing his mother's betrayal? Don't you realize that this pushed him away and that you lost his respect, as well as Krista's, when they saw those photos and tried to decide whether to tell me about your deceitful, promiscuous behavior? Do you think they have any trust or respect left for you now? Do you know how painful it was for them to tell me that you were a cheater, and how hard it was to hear them sobbing as they watched you destroy our marriage and our family? Just stop lying about it happening only once, and that it hasn't been going on for months, and that you didn't sleep with him 6 or 7 times during this last business trip. I'm hanging up the next time you lie. No, Jack, please, let me explain. I heard Linda sobbing uncontrollably and imagined her collapsing to the floor as she finally realized that her lies and betrayal had harmed her family and herself. Oh God, Jack, I am so sorry. Please, you have to forgive me. I went crazy, but it's all over now. It was just cheap and sleazy sex, and it was so thrilling to be desired and secretly involved in an illicit affair. I felt young and wanted again, but there was no love, and I never wanted to hurt you, though I don't know how I couldn't see that. I didn't even realize how I distanced myself from you and the kids, and I am ashamed to admit that only now am I waking up and seeing myself as some different person from a horror movie or a nightmare, and I hate myself for it because I love you, the kids, and our life together. Oh, dear Jack, please come home so I can make it right. I need to make us a family again. Linda, there is no us. We are done. You can't say you loved me after you cheated, after you caused me so much pain and emotional damage. You've shown that you don't respect me and don't care about anyone but yourself, and because of your lies and deceit, I will never be able to trust you again. Everything we had is now tainted and suspect. Have you been sleeping with him for the past few years, or just the last 4 months? How many other men have there been? Do I need to do a DNA test on my children? Don't bother answering, because I won't believe a word you say. Of course, I need to get tested for STDs. There is nothing left between us. You have hurt me like no one else ever could, and I never could have imagined that the person I loved and built my life around would throw me away like a piece of trash. But you did. Maybe the kids will eventually find their way back to you, but I never, ever will. Jack, please don't say that. I'll do anything. I'll go to a therapist. You can sleep with other women. Please, don't leave me. I lived with the guilt, wanted to stop, and I always came back to you. It was just a meaningless fling. Oh God, please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Linda, save your breath. I don't believe a word you say, and right now, I just don't care about you or your lies. Now listen carefully to what's happening. On Monday, you'll be served with divorce papers at the bank. Oh God, no, Jack, please don't divorce me. Please. Linda, listen to me. Your boss's wife has already received copies of the videos and photos of your filthy affair where you slept with him in our bedroom. So, it looks like you and John Monroe will be stuck with each other when his wife and I both leave you. Jack, please tell me you didn't do that. He has a wife and 2 kids. Why would you ruin their lives? Wow, Linda, you just don't get it. I'm not the one destroying their family. You and John Monroe did that. Your cheap affair ruined not only my life, your life, and the lives of our kids, but also the lives of his wife and kids. You should be proud of yourself. You played a part in the downfall of 8 people. Fortunately for you, you're such a selfish creature that you probably don't even care. Her sobs exploded, and I could hear it through the phone, but I wasn't done yet. Your boss will be facing a civil lawsuit for alienation of affection, though it will be interesting to see which hospital he's in. Apparently, he had some bad luck. Wrong place, wrong time. I heard from a friend that Monroe was mugged in the airport parking lot and ended up in the hospital with serious injuries, so it's hard to say when he'll be fit to give you his magic tool again. Stop, Jack. Stop being so cruel. I don't care about him. I just want you. Please, don't do this to us. Listen, Linda. Again, there is no us. It's hard to say if you and your boss will still have jobs by the end of next week, because I also sent those photos to the president and board members of Commerce Bank USA, along with the alienation of affection and sexual harassment lawsuit. If they want to settle, I'll try to make sure you keep your job, but I'll demand they fire him for cause. No, Jack, no. Do you hate me that much? Linda, you showed your hatred for me through your betrayal, lies, and disrespect. You took my love for you, which I cherished, and ripped it out of my soul. I'm just trying to regain some self-respect before our lives go in different directions. At this point, Linda was crying so hard and making sounds of disbelief and denial that I wasn't sure if she could hear me anymore. I held back my anger and felt pain and regret for putting her through this, because I knew I still loved her, despite my hatred. It was a very troubling mix of emotions tearing at my soul, but overall, I was determined to seek revenge and deeply hurt her for what she did to me. Linda, we're almost done. Try to focus on the next few points. I took $125,000 from our savings and used $25,000 to pay for Krista's next 2 years of college. I'll help her in the future, but for now, that's all I can afford. I'm leaving you the house. I've signed the deed over to your name, and the equity should be around $100,000 if you sell it now. I won't sell our house, Jack, and I want you to stop this madness and come back to me so we can heal. Please, for the sake of our 23 years of love and happiness, before I went crazy. I ignored this remark and continued, Linda, if you sign the divorce papers, you'll keep the house and everything in it. I'll take the $100,000 left from our savings, and we'll be done. If you don't agree to the divorce or start fighting it, it doesn't matter. I won't be around to argue. Do what you want. I don't care. We're almost done, Linda. There are a few more things I need to tell you. If you look around, you'll notice I've moved out. I took what I wanted, and everything left is yours. I took some photos but left the wedding albums for you. Keep them, burn them, I don't care. I left my wedding ring on the dresser. You can melt it down or flush it down the toilet like you did with our marriage. Ryan will come by to pick up some of my fishing and hunting gear that he needs. He'll come when you're not there, so don't be alarmed if you notice someone has been in the house. He doesn't want to see you. Krista will come to get all her things. She doesn't plan on ever living there again. She would also prefer to come when you're not there, so don't be surprised if you find her room empty. The last thing you should know is that I also sent the photos of you having sex to your parents, my parents, and all our contacts in both of our email databases. So you might want to think about the story you're going to tell them. I'll be damned if I'll be the bad guy in this failed marriage. Her crying and screaming had now reached such a level that I feared she might faint or have a breakdown. This needed to end. Linda, one more thing. Last week, I quit my job and am leaving the state for the great unknown. I hope I can find someone in the future who loves me enough to stay true to the promises we make to each other. Someone who will respect me, treat me as an equal, and someone I can trust and love again. I hope you, in turn, can find what you were clearly missing. Please don't try to find me. If you need to contact me for any reason, you can send a message through Ryan or my lawyer, but I will be gone from your life, and you will be gone from mine. Goodbye, Linda. I heard her scream, Jack, no, please, Jack. Please forgive me. I hung up and burst into a painful fit of crying and anguish. I think I realized I had gone too far in my revenge, and it would take a long time to forgive myself for the cruelty I had shown. I doubted I would ever forgive her. I knew the road ahead would be torturous before I could heal and feel ready for something more than a life of solitude. More than anything, I didn't want to lead a life full of bitterness. But remembering that morning on the mountain summit, I reminded myself that there would still be moments of beauty and magic in my life. I just needed to stay open to them and keep moving towards a new beginning.
Thank you for being with us and listening until the end. If you found it interesting, please subscribe, give us a like, and leave your comments.